voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ, or Iglesianicristo.
You're watching INCRadio.
INCRadio. Central Valley, California. Central Valley, California. Central Valley, California. INCRadio. Central Valley, California.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to all of you here at INCRadio Central Valley, California. In a world that celebrates overnight success and viral breakthroughs, we often overlook the real game changers to success, that being consistency. Being able to be there even though we don't want to, and building habits for the future. These conversations only happen here on INCRadio Central Valley, California. Today, we are joined by our wonderful group of panelists. Say what's up, everyone.
Hi. Hello, everybody.
Thank you, Jill and Caitlin, so much for joining me on the show today. It's been a while since we had a conversation together, so I'm looking forward to the discussion about the quiet strength of consistency today. Right? And so before we begin, first, if you haven't already done so, please go ahead and hit the like button, leave a comment in the comment section, and please be sure to hit that subscribe button so you too can stay tuned to everything INCRadio Central Valley, California. And speaking of Central Valley, we have some activities that are coming up this weekend. So for Saturday, we actually have our coastal cleanup happening in Santa Maria this coming Saturday at 8 a.m. We look forward to seeing everyone there to be able to do our part in the community by keeping our oceans clean. And then the following weekends, we will be having our musical evangelical mission that will be happening in the city of Fresno. So for everyone that loves musicals, we hope to be able to have you there and to be able for you to enjoy the music that the brethren will be participating in, and of course having our friends and loved ones there join us as well. And so to get our conversation started, Jill, Caitlin, I hope you guys have had a great day. I myself have had a pretty productive day, if I do say so myself.
Yes, I love that.
And so, just to start things off, we already talked about, the world nowadays sometimes overlooks the key thing in our life, and that being just being able to do something consistent over a certain amount of time. And we always even look at the young ones nowadays, they always look to like having that motivation to want to do something, but then after a while, that motivation gets lost, and we kind of find it hard to move forward, especially when times are hard. And so I want to kind of start this conversation up talking about the difference between consistency and motivation, and how which one wins at the end of the day, right? So to start our discussion, I actually wanted to ask Caitlin this first question. So would you be able to share to the audience, a time when consistency rather than motivation kind of helped you get through something challenging in your life?
Yes, of course. When I was younger, I performed a lot in theater and in orchestra, like when I was in elementary school and in high school. And truthfully, there were so many days that I did not want to go to rehearsal or go to practice, especially when there were rehearsals that would be way past school hours. If you know, you know. But, there were moments where it was hard because I was essentially just doing the same thing again and again and again with the same group of people. But like always, I kind of had to reframe my way of thinking and make it more positive instead of negative. So doing those same dance numbers and singing numbers so frequently, practicing those songs with my section over and over again, it builds a type of muscle memory in a way that consistency brings about. So on days on a performance, I wasn't nervous because I kept showing up for myself.
And that's like a key thing, right? It's just being able to show for yourself first, and then being able to take in the external factors to
Mhm.
then help you become more consistent in what you're doing. And an orchestra is not the easiest thing in the world, and it does require you more than just 1 days of practice to be able to be really good and really consistent at the thing that you're doing.
Mhm.
And so, but with that, right, with being in the orchestra, it takes a lot of commitment, takes a lot of discipline, especially wanting to perfect their craft. Was there ever a time that you like picked up an instrument and just said like I didn't want to practice today. I didn't want to do this today.
Yes, so every day in high school we would have like orchestra practice and I played the violin and I still do. And if not a lot of people don't know, like the violin is one of the more like competitive instruments because everybody's trying to get that like first spot. And so there are days where I'm like, oh, I didn't really want to practice today because there are so many people who are better at it than me. But again, reframing my thinking, I need to keep showing up for myself so I can become better despite like how good everybody else is. I need to show up for myself first.
And I love that, being able to like set that goal for yourself. No, not looking worrying about what everybody else thinks, but really setting that goal for yourself, saying, "Hey, I want to make it here. How do I get here? How do I make sure that I'm only worried about myself and and making sure that this is like what do I want for myself?" And it all starts again, like making sure that you stay showing up for yourself, building that routine, building that habit, right? And so, Jill, I wanted to ask you this question regarding habits, right? We all have different quirks, I would call them, or different things that we do personally that helps us get through the day, get through the night, et cetera, right? I wanted to ask, especially with yourself being a very established person within your career, right? What are some routines or habits that have quietly shaped your life or your career the most?
I'm so flattered. Well, thank you. First and foremost, Caitlin, that is so great of you. I didn't know that you play the violin, so I think that's so that's so amazing and such a
Thank
great skill to
you.
have. And love your answer about showing up for yourself. So that's definitely something that I always keep reminding myself. But in terms of routines and habits, one thing that I have always and continuously do is always have a list. I have a list for everything, whether it's personal, for work, even my types of workouts. I have a list of what I want to do for the next day. I always try to plan out things ahead of time. Obviously, there are some things that do come up, but if there's a way for me to plan out ahead of time, I always try to do that. And another thing that I've done for years, whether since like college and into my professional life, is I always add things into my calendar. If there's something that is not in my calendar, it's not happening. Even to the point of where I have to have lunch or eat something or go for a walk. Any those little details like really do make a difference. So just I'm a very visual person, so I have to have a list and I have to have my calendars already, set for the rest of the either day or next week.
Was it always like that, Jill? Where like you always had to like sit down and like do things like 1, 2, 3, or was it some? Did you had to like learn that from someone, or was it someone that you like looked up to help you get into those habits?
That's a great question. So in college, I always had a list and I would always have like a planner, but it wasn't until I started working in the real world after college and into my professional life and juggling real life situations, with work and outside of things, my duties, and then implementing, workouts. So I would say it didn't. A lot of those different types of characteristics from them and just kind of grew into my own.
And we love that, being able to look at the people around us and to be able to get the great habits from these great and successful people and implementing that within our lives. Shout out to you, Jill, for having that group around you, and Snaps for the fitness. Everyone, I know, like everyone at the beginning of the year probably had that goal. I know myself, I did. So shout out to everyone who's starting to try to do that goal, though, right? And I will actually.
I would say it's not like a goal, it's more of a journey. So don't ever get so hard on yourself for, if you fall, like it happens all the time. So that's why I like to call it a journey.
Most definitely, and I know that everyone also has that journey when it comes to just trying to find out what that version of consistency looks like for them. especially within our society today, where sometimes social media kind of washes or misinterprets what the meaning of consistency could be, or even the term success within itself, right? Based on like how people view their social media posts, how they view success within their likes, right? And so I kind of wanted to ask Caitlin about your take on that society look, right? So why do you think society kind of overlooks the power of consistency and wants more like immediate success?
Like you mentioned, I think society just puts a lot of emphasis on, those overnight results. Like we would go on social media, we see things like how I went from a beginner to professional in 1 week, or I lost this many pounds in just 1 day. And like, that's just not, hello? Like, that's just not
That's so
realistic,
relatable.
not even healthy. But people just love, what's the word? Just the idea of instant gratification or just changing who they are to fit into a mold so quickly. But what's overlooked and underestimated, as you said, is consistency. It's the small actions that get you where you need to be. And as I mentioned in my story, sometimes it can get tiring to excuse me, to do those same things repetitively. But when you actually see yourself getting better, I feel like it's way more impactful than just seeing results right away, because you get to reflect on yourself and how much you have grown from when you were that beginner, if that makes any sense.
No, and definitely, right? It's true how the society nowadays, they really do seek for that instant gratification versus seeking that long term goal, that long term vision of where can I be within the next like 5 years, and the work that it takes. It's always about the work, and sometimes people not wanting to do the work, but that's what consistency is all about. Just doing the same thing over and over until it becomes part of ourselves and part of the routine. Right now, we're fortunate that we were able to, at the moment, be able to be within that routine, or to be able to have the circumstance where we're able to consistently do what we need to do, right? For some, though, it's we kind of might be going through unpredictable times, or there's a lot of chaos that happens in our current lives. And I'm pretty sure even the ones in the chat can agree to that, where it's always different from day to day, right? And so I kind of want to ask Jill this, right? So we all want to be consistent. We all want to have that calendar or have those lists and be able to go boom, 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 did it, right? But sometimes that's not the case. So how can someone stay consistent when life does get unpredictable or chaotic?
That's a great question. So I've fallen off the wagon more times than the more than I can count. But in order for me to stay consistent, and the one thing I would say is give yourself grace. Life happens and it's okay. It's not about, how actually falling off the wagon, but, just getting back on, and also, enjoying the process. I feel like sometimes we just look at the goal, and if we don't achieve that goal, then, either we get down on ourselves, which I do multiple times, or try not to, but also enjoying the process in between, just going along for the ride. Things are going to happen no matter what, and just kind of understanding that. I've had to remind myself that so many times. So definitely giving yourself grace and just kind of enjoying the process, and knowing that you are going to hit your goal. It's just a matter of when, and just kind of staying on track.
And I agree, right? It's that being able to give yourself that recognition and say, like, I'm doing my best. And at first, right, to be able to acknowledge that you're at least trying it, you're trying to get there. That's the first step in that. There is a quote that I heard in a TV show, or maybe even a cartoon, right? It was about, it goes like, the results are a byproduct of the process, right? With a good process comes great results. And so as long as our process is good and we stick to it, just like how our very own Benji De Los Reyes actually mentions, right? One should be consistently motivated, right?
Yeah.
So if we are consistently motivated, and that's our kind of our process, then the results will yield as we are consistent, or we are motivated throughout the entire thing.
Love
Right?
that.
Yes, and I love how our conversation has gone so far. So for our live viewers in the chat, if you haven't already done so, go ahead and leave a comment in our YouTube live chat, so we can include you in our conversation, especially as we talk about the small things that add up in life. But before we move on with our show, we just want to play a quick game with our panelists here today. So, guys, are you ready for our game today?
Yes.
All right. So with this game, it's gonna be a rapid fire game. It's gonna be called Keep It or Quit It. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to present to you a series of daily habits, and it'll be up to you to quickly identify whether you want to keep it which means it's worth staying consistent, or quit it, which means it's not sustainable, helpful, or worth the energy. Okay, so you guys ready?
Yes.
And I'll live chat too. Please participate with your keep it or quit it's in the chat. Okay, so first things first, skipping breakfast to save time. Keep it or quit it.
Quit it.
Quit it.
All right, writing a to-do list every night.
Keep it.
Keep it.
Doing the same workout every day.
Quit it.
Yes, quit it.
Okay. Checking your phone before getting out of bed.
Quit it.
Quit it.
I'm a victim of that. Saying yes to every opportunity.
Quit it.
Yeah, quit it.
I'm a keep it type of person for that one. Practicing gratitude daily.
Keep
Keep
it.
it.
Listening to a podcast while commuting.
While what?
While commuting.
Oh, commuting. Keep it.
Quit it. I'm not really a podcast girly.
Setting weekly goals every Sunday.
Keep it.
Keep it.
Replaying conversations in your head.
Quit it.
Quit it.
Celebrating small wins.
Keep it.
Keep it.
Trying to be productive all day, every day.
Keep quit.
A little half and half. Hey, nothing wrong with a little bit half and half, you know? Like,
Yes, that.
apologizing for taking time for yourself.
Quit it.
Quit it.
And then last but not least, pushing through even when your body says rest.
Quit it.
Quit it.
So you guys can see that a lot of like the stuff that we're mentioning, it's like, for the most part, it's like quit it. Why you want to give me a little bit of a one sentence response of why you think it's a lot of it is just quit it?
One, I feel like saying yes to everything kind of takes away from me, and it gives more energy into others or things that don't serve me. So in a healthy way, of course.
Yeah,
You know
for me,
what?
I said like quit it immediately for replaying conversations in your head, because I have the tendency to rethink all of my social interactions. Like, oh, did I say this weirdly? Did this person think of me like this? And I need to stop doing that. So quit it.
No, and a lot of it I agreed with you guys, right? And it's really like these small micro interactions or these small things that really do add up in our day-to-day life, especially when it's one after another, right? And so one, I want to thank you guys for joining us in the game, and two, thank you live chat for also participating. So for our next discussion, we're going to be talking about these small things that add up in our life and what kind of an impact this does on our long-term life, right? And so to begin our discussion, like I said, right, daily habits are the foundation block of how we live every day. Whether that be having that cup of water in the morning, looking at your phone in the morning, or even writing a to-do list, right? All these things helps add up to the bigger picture that we have throughout the entire day. And so, but sometimes, we fall off, we break the streak, and, we need our way to be able to get back into the swing of things, even for these small things, right? And so for my first question, I'm going to ask Caitlin this. What do you say to people who feel discouraged by even just slow progress? Because, some people like either have quick starts or are like super fast out of the gate. What do you say to those that just have like a slow start in the beginning?
I think slow progress it's still progress. Every professional or like the GOATs have always started out as, beginners. They've always had something to work on. And it's really easy to be hard on yourself when you're trying to get better at something. But you have to remember that every step that you take, even if it's small, it'll always help you reach where you want to be. So with that, like slow progress also teaches you patience. So even if it's slow, you're still moving and it's still something to be proud of. And I feel like people need to give each other more grace, like Jill said, and celebrate themselves as they deserve. So yeah.
Can we get some snaps in the chat?
Great answer. I love that. Can I save that?
Can someone clip that in the chat too? That's all.
Forever. That was a good one, Caitlin. Love it.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, we love it, Caitlin. I know, like, sometimes people forget that, like, moving forward doesn't mean going fast all the time. Like even like there's a term like baby steps matter, right? Like we all start off as kids, right? So then we all didn't get born this way, so we all have to get to like this point somehow in some way. And if it means having to start off slow, then so be it, as long as we get to the goal that we're at.
Yeah, of course. Like we all have like different goals and different paths. And even if that means going at a slower pace, it's still fine. And if you see someone who is, let's say, like going faster than you are, it's still fine because they're on their own journey and you are on your own journey. So it like that self-comparison or the comparison is kind of hard. So
and tonight, I love it.
I know, and it's great that also you mentioned about being able to keep track of yourself, right? And just staying within your own lane and trying to figure out how you're going to get there. Some people might take that for granted to be able to look at themselves and just to stay within their own mind of thought to be able to move forward. So I kind of want to ask Jill this question, like Jill. So personally, right? How do you track or celebrate even the small wins? Because steps are still steps. So how do you celebrate those steps?
I would say when I try to celebrate my small wins, I document for myself. I try to not, document for other people. Just knowing that I'm tracking my own progress, whether it's through pictures or journaling or anything like that, just documenting through the process or even jotting down my thoughts and feelings, and just seeing how far I've come along and looking back in those notes, or even just pictures, if you're trying to hit a goal or anything and you look back and you're like, wow, like I really did grow from this, or I wasn't that person, whether it was weeks ago, but, at that time. So just documenting your own progress, not for anybody else, just for yourself, and just kind of looking back and just, being proud of where you're at now.
And that's the beauty of progress, right? We forget like where we come from, where the start is, right? And especially when we look back and reflect on the journey, like you mentioned before, the journey of getting to where we are right now. It really is beautiful for how we all started from somewhere and we all ended up to be where we're at right now. It's an amazing thing. And for everyone in the live chat too, please share your stories on like what's a story that you've had where you started from somewhere and then you got into somewhere where you didn't believe you were going to get to because of the progress that you've made. Please share that in the chat so we can read that at the end of our show today. And so, we all want to be able to continue to improve. We all want to be able to learn new things, build new habits, right? But it's kind of hard, especially since if we might not know what we're doing, or we might not have the connections or even just a good place to start. And so I want to ask Caitlin this, right? So Caitlin, if you can give any advice, what would you give to someone trying to start a new habit but keeps on quitting because they're discouraged or they don't see the progress right away? What advice would you give?
I feel that you should always stay kind to yourself. I mentioned this earlier, but it's easy to be hard on yourself, especially when when you set yourself up for like a certain standard or you have a very specific goal. But you just have to remember that you have to take it day by day. And there are going to be some days where you didn't like meet your goal or you didn't do as much as you thought you'd hope to. So you just have to remember that tomorrow's a new day. And as we keep reiterating, just keep showing up for yourself.
No, most definitely. And it's like, it always goes back to that though, right? Being able to show up for yourself, being able to learn how to love where you're at, and all the more pushing through so that way you can continue to love where you're at. I think it's the most underrated part of like just trying to pick up something new is the fact that we might have to fail at first in order to really see what it's like to be able to succeed in that thing that we're trying to succeed in.
Mm-hmm.
And so to end our show, I'm actually going to ask both of you this question, right? We continue to ask about how we're trying to understand and give ourselves that grace when it comes to learning new things or building a habit. But there's also that point too where we need to be disciplined and actually lock in to the thing that we're trying to get good at. And so for the both of you, I'll start with Jill on this. How do you balance grace and discipline in your own life?
That's a great question. So the way I balance, or at least try to balance grace and discipline is whenever I am striving for something, I'm letting myself know that the goal is not the next step, that there are baby steps, as we mentioned, to that goal, and also giving myself grace for achieving those small steps. But not only that, like the process doesn't have to be burdensome. It could actually be fun. Eating healthy doesn't have to be terrible. That you can make some really good foods with low calories, or enjoy, wear some cute workout clothes to, make it a whole vibe, and just kind of, feel good in the moment while you're trying to achieve your goals. And just knowing that, trying to achieve those goals and trying to stay disciplined doesn't always have to be so burdensome, and it can be fun, and you can just make it a whole experience out of it.
The vibe and the experience. I love that, Jill. I definitely will continue to do that, especially as I am embarking my journey to get back into being more physically fit. Caitlin, what about you? How do you balance grace and discipline in your own life?
I think discipline, it helps you stay consistent, as what we've been talking about for the past 30 minutes, and then it helps you make progress. But being gracious with yourself means that those mistakes that you make, it don't define you, and it could also serve as lessons. And then, like what Jill said, like, it doesn't, like, the journey doesn't have to be like, oh, like, so tiring. Like, you can make it fun. Like, something that I've been doing every day that I'm actually very proud of is that I feel like I mention this all the time, but like every morning I go on walks with my dad, and usually like I do like 30 minutes, but lately I've been doing like an hour 15. It's fun too. And I'm like listening to music, vibing out, like talking with my dad. And it's just really fun. Like what Jill said, the process doesn't have to be burdensome. It could be fun too. So that's a way you can balance discipline and grace.
And I love how she says like lessons. Like it really is like learning every day. And being able to take those lessons and add them to your life. And then from there, it's an accumulation of the lessons that you learn to make who you are, the person today.
And that's a great point. That's a great way to start out your day. It doesn't always have to be a walk. It could just be something that's enjoyable to you. And then those good feelings kind of flow into the rest of your day.
Yes, it's so fun.
And that's what I feel is so underrated about the consistency, how it's always consistently can be a good vibe. You can always consistently do things in the way that you enjoy it, while being able to learn more about yourself and to be able to take those lessons and add them up to make them who you are today. And so, Jill, Caitlin, thank you so much for joining us on the show. We loved hearing your experiences and to be able to grow together in this community that we have here in Central Valley, California. Thank you to all our viewers for tuning in. Just to read a couple of comments that we have from some of our viewers today. From our very own District Minister, Kaiseas Antinu. Happy viewing to all brethren of CVC. Keep supporting INCRadio Central Valley, California. From our very own Mario Oka, good day here in the Philippines and enjoy watching here on INCRadio Central Valley, California. Greetings from locale of Brixtonville District of Caloocan North. Man, it's lunchtime in the Philippines, so this is perfect. Mario, thank you for being a consistent subscriber here to INCRadio Central Valley, California. We have our very own Boging Carls from the Cabales GWS locale of Manghangan District of Quezon City. Thank you so much for joining us in the Philippines. Wow. And then from our very own Arthur San Antonio, a happy viewing from the local of Santa Maria District of Central Valley, California. From Ruby de los Reyes, special greetings and shout out to all the brethren in Delano. And with that being said, again, we want to thank everyone who has tuned in, supporting INCRadio Central Valley, California. We thank everyone for consistently supporting us in our show every 9 p.m. on Fridays. And we always thank you for joining us each and every single time. We also want to thank our INCRadio station manager, Brother Wally Tarai, to our Deputy Executive Minister, Brother Angelo Irano Vimanalo, and of course to our Executive Minister, Brother Eduardo Vimanalo, for consistently loving the church, for always being there for us and being the one to set the example for us in the way that we lead, in the way that we take care of the church, and of course, take care of each other as we continue to journey on in everything that we do. And so with that being said, this concludes another episode of INCRadio Central Valley, California. Again, please be sure to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned in on everything INCRadio Central Valley, California. With that being said, everyone, have a good night. See you guys next time.
Bye.